y'all, this is Hope at Crafty Hope, and I am working on the Daisy Yellow ICAD 2019 challenge, and these are cards 28, 29, and 30. Now this is issued by Tammy Garcia of Daisy Yellow. I'll have the information about it below, but by the time you see this, the challenge will definitely be over. So, but I want to walk you through it and share what I did create. I had a lot of fun with these cards. I'm working on 4x6 index cards. And for these cards, was supposed to be out of town, so I took a bunch of art journaling supplies with me, and so I'm making myself work strictly from those as if I would have had I been still out of town. So I took a piece of jelly printed paper and used my Oohoo glue stick and just glued that straight onto my card. And then I had some stamped images on a piece of cardstock, and one of them was this leaf that you see there that I cut out. Now, the prompt for this challenge was architecture, and so I kind of thought that maybe like the architecture of a leaf was how I would draw that prompt in here, because that one's got some nice veining on it, and that's kind of the architecture of it. So as you see, I took that jelly print and it had some, what are those, like teardrop shapes on it, and I went around each of those teardrop shapes with a watercolor pencil in like a dark purple, and I'm just taking a water brush and kind of, blending that color in a little bit to outline those teardrops. And then I've got another watercolor pencil that I'm going around a little bit more, and it's in more of like a magenta color, so I'm going to blend that a little bit more toward the middle to let those pop. Now that I'm drawing the colors you see on the left side of that card there's some purples and magentas there, and so that's what I was drawing these other colors from, to just kind of get it to all blend together. And to add a little interest, I took a white Sharpie paint pen, that's the water-based paint pen, and just added a few dots underneath each of the teardrops to just some art making fun. You see I'm playing with what I'm going to do with that leaf there, and then I go back into my watercolor pencils and I find what is it? I pull out a green watercolor pencil, and so I'm going to just color in. I think I was testing it on that watercolor paper to see how it would do. And so I'm just kind of going up the center line of that leaf and blending it outward so it has more of that watercolor effect. And then in a minute I'm going to take a lighter shade of green watercolor pencil and add that to it as well. First I take a sip of coffee there. I like my coffee. So there's that lighter green, and I'm just adding just a touch, just so, because leaves aren't always exactly the same color, so I like to have a couple little combinations of colors in there. So that's what I'm doing. I'm keeping this as simple as possible. Like I said, I was supposed to do this out of town, and so I am working with a small number of supplies, and sometimes that is the easiest and best way to do things, is to really limit the supplies that you use or that you let yourself use, because if you've got an entire world of craft supplies, then it's just too much. Now I'm sorting through some of the wordy things I have in there. I've got this little book of Tim Holtz letter stickers, so I decided to just spell out the word explore. Now I don't know really what this has to do with anything, but for some reason that immediately was the word that came to mind, and maybe I was thinking like explore architecture in your own area or your own backyard, whether it's a leaf or the actual structures that are out there. So I'm just spelling that out real quick. I didn't line it up or anything real exact. I just kind of stuck those down and grabbed my Oohoo glue stick again to go ahead and stick my leaf down rather than fiddling with where it was going to go anymore. And then I've got a Stabilo all pencil in black that I am going to go around both the leaf and the word I made to just kind of make those pop off the page. And then I'll use my water brush, I think, again, to go around that Stabilo to just kind of blend in that dark color, give it some shadow. It's one of my favorite tools. If you don't have a Stabilo all pencil, go get one. They're available on Amazon. I love it. I really should order me like just a ton just to carry around with me because they're awesome. So once that's done, I'm trying to think what I did next. I inked up the edges of this card just real quick. That's some Stays On ink. It's one of the inks I had with me when I traveled. So, and that's it for this card. Here's a couple closer looks, and then we'll get on to card 29. So here's card 29, and the prompt for it was terracotta. So I had a general idea, but first I like to cover my card. So I just used a piece of ledger paper here and glue that down again with my Uhu glue stick, and used a straight edge on a ruler to tear off the edges there. I like the frayed edges a little bit more. And once that was on there, I took some masking tape. I had wrapped this masking tape around a card, and I had just a little bit left because while I was out of town, people kept needing tape, and so I kept giving away my masking tape. So I was happy to see I still had some left in those supplies to dip into for my travels. And then I grabbed a little bit of, I think this is some Tim Holtz tissue tape. I love the tissue tape. I don't know what it is, something about its almost transparent nature that, and its thinness. I don't know. I really love it. But I'm just putting these down to add a little bit of texture to this card. I had a general idea of what I wanted for my focal. I had a little, you can see up there in the right corner, a piece of a calendar with a bicycle on it that I'm using. That's going to be my focal. Then I had this big thing of Liquitex gesso that I took with me. It's just in an old pepper container that, since it's nice and, you know, secure, that's what I put my gesso into travel because it's a smaller container. And I just scraped that with a palette knife there to push kind of the background into the background. Now you see I've pulled out these tubes of golden paint. Now I don't even know what colors those are, but I decided I was going to make a terracotta color using quite a bit of yellow and then just a couple touches of red to get that orangey terracotta color. And it really worked out great. I'm really surprised at how well I was able to mix those colors. Now I painted that just lightly onto part of my brayer, just one little edge of it, to kind of go around the outside of my card. I guess I was just kind of framing it up a little bit, and I just wanted a touch of that terracotta on the card to bring in that prompt. And really, that's the only way I brought this prompt in, was to bring that orangey terracotta color in. Now it's not a perfect terracotta, but for what I was working with, it's pretty great. I'm pleasantly surprised I did such a great job with it. And there's my little picture there. And it's a bicycle, and I think it says something like, wherever you go, go with all your heart. And I don't like the, I don't know, really straight corners on pictures, so I tend to cut around them to, I don't know. And so I kind of cut around the bicycle and curve the corners at the top. And I've got a little bit of black and a little bit of white paint, also the stuff that I had taken with me, and I'm just going to blend those two together to make a gray. And again, it blended beautifully. You don't have to have a whole arsenal of colors. You can always make sure, if you've got the primary colors and a black and a white, you can pretty much make anything you want. So I add a little water to that paintbrush, and I'm just splattering on that gray. Just, I don't know, I just wanted some splatter painting. It's not something I do very often, but the more I do it, the more I realize I should do it more. So I'm glad I did it with this one. It's kind of, I don't know, you don't see it a whole lot in here, but it's there. And then since I had so much of that gray, I went ahead and just went around the outside of the card. I always like to frame up my cards for some reason, and putting this little bit of gray on there and blending it in just gives it a little something extra. So I dried it all real quick, just super quick, because since I used such, I don't know, thinned out paint or whatever, it didn't take real long to dry it. But it seems to be taking forever. I don't know why I didn't cut some of that out. I usually do. I think I was distracted when I was editing the video for this. So I blotted that real quick to get some of the splatters to kind of go down and try to figure out what my placement was going to be. And then I started sorting through all of my stamps. I was looking for something to add, just another little bit of texture or mark making or something. I don't know. So I found this Ray Messigman stamps that I don't use near enough, and I love them. And she's got these little like mark making looking little, I don't know, little line things. And I just use a little bit of distress ink and black soot. It's a little tiny one that I've got from somewhere that I just stamped off on there, and the excess I stamped onto a little extra piece of that ledger paper, and I actually used that later. I think that may be card 31. You'll see it later if you watch that. So once I got those on there, I just glued down, used my Oohoo glue stick since I'm just gluing paper to paper, and glued down my little bicycle image. And of course, I have to fiddle with my glue because it never sticks the first time I stick anything down. And it's not that the Oohoo doesn't work right, there's a defect in my ability, I think. And I just use my big old fat pencil that I love to go around that image and then add a couple little marks on the page. It didn't have enough marks, and then some scribbles and all of that I just kind of rubbed because that thick lead kind of will fade out if you rub it a little. And I left it at that, guys. There's card 29 for you. For card 30, the prompt was lemon or lemonade. And I think I had a general idea. I have this jelly print that's on some, what is that, deli paper that I knew would work really well if I glued it straight over a piece of dictionary paper. I love dictionary paper. So I'm gluing the dictionary paper straight onto my card. And you see there's it didn't cover the card completely. So where this little piece I cut off, I'm just gluing it down over on that side to cover the whole card. And then I'm going to take that jelly print that I have in just a second after I get a sip of coffee. I told y'all I love my coffee. And I was looking for a word. I think I thought maybe lemon was on there or something. I don't even remember what I thought was on there. But I'm just going to spread the Oohoo again on that card and glue that deli paper jelly print down. And you see that pink and yellow in there? Something about that makes me think of pink lemonade. And so that's why I went with this for this card. It's anytime there's a combination of pink and yellow, I automatically think pink lemonade. So I thought that worked really great for this card. Plus, it's kind of a sunshine effect, and lemons grow in the sunshine. So, that's how I brought this in here. So then I need it, and this card, y'all, comes together so quick. So I take my pencil, and I'm just kind of giving a little shadow to those lines down there, just to, I don't know, accent them a little. And then I was looking for some kind of focal or something else to add, and I flipped through all these little things I had while I was traveling, and I didn't really care for any of them. So I dip back into my stamps, and I realize I have some sentiment stamps, and you see I'm looking at everything, trying to figure out what exactly I want, and I find one that says there is beauty in simplicity. And this is really what this card is about, because it is so beyond simple. And I'm just stamping that sentiment straight onto the card. It shows up wonderfully right there in that sunshine beam. And then I've got a white gel pen that I am just going to go and circle around the sentiment. And then I'm going to add a couple dots up in the those sunbeams, just to, and it's just the pink part of those sunbeams, just for a little extra something. And I'm going to ink around the outside of this card, and it's done. I love it. Now, I hope you are liking this series. If you've just found me, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can see more from me, and give me a thumbs up, and let me know if you have any questions below. I appreciate you watching so much. Thanks, guys. Bye.